I'm walking towards what's known as the Maidan in the center of Kyiv, otherwise known as Independence Square. And it's here where many people believe Russia's most recent aggression towards Ukraine really began, back in 2014, when the country went through what it called the Revolution of Dignity, when it was trying to push closer to Europe. And at that point, Russia began to move towards the eastern part of the country and try to destabilize Ukraine from there. And so now the city, which has been under assault, really threat, risk for the last 6 weeks, is beginning to come out of that a little bit, because the Russian forces, of course, have all been now moved away from the city. They have been pushed back. They have also retreated on their own. And so there is a different sense of life, I think, now in Kyiv. I just spent a number of weeks in Lviv, in the western part of the country, where it doesn't feel as if there's a war going on at all, except for 1 or 2 days when there have been attacks nearby. But Kyiv is a much different situation. There are checkpoints all over the city. I'll just turn around a little bit so you can see the monument behind me. You can see a checkpoint there. There are checkpoints here everywhere, probably every few hundred meters, and they take them very seriously. Every time we're stopped, you have to show your passport, sometimes your digital press card, sometimes your Canadian press card. That's what they want to see, and they do it for a very good reason. They're worried about provocateurs, Russian agents who might be in the city and able to target buildings, for example, for Russian attacks. But those attacks now have stopped because the Russian army, the Russian forces, have now made their way north, heading largely towards Belarus, as far as we understand. Will they regroup and try to take Kyiv again at some point? Many people fear that. I've spoken to a lot of people who say the risk is not over, the threat is not over yet. The Russian forces are out of the way of being able to shell with artillery the city, but they can still fire long-range missiles towards Kyiv and cause a lot of trouble and a lot of difficulties and a lot of danger. There are a number of buildings around the city that I've been able to see which are quite seriously damaged and will have to be rebuilt at some point, as this square was. I was here in 2014 for the Revolution of Dignity. This building behind me was also destroyed at that point. And you can see it has now completely been rebuilt and is going through another period of very, very grave difficulty for Ukraine. The war goes on in the south and the east, but for the moment now, Kyiv feels as if people can relax. It's a Monday here. There's a lot more traffic on the streets. Very few businesses or restaurants open yet. Supermarkets are open, but you can feel and you can see that gradually it is going to start to reopen and return to perhaps something of what it was before, except this country is still in a state of war. Paul Workman, CTV News, Kyiv.